Hi guys, let's continue with the topic of demand for innovations. Last time we talked about Beijing or Chinese state acting as one of the key or ultimate demander for innovation in China. But that's not a complete, right? Remember I said that we have six um, drivers for demand for innovation in China. The second one is international. International comes with two parts. One is that international exposure to global supply chain. Basically, the Western countries they outsourcing or offshore their manufacturing technologies to China, and there are a lot of other East Asian countries, Southeast Asian countries. So that is the first thing that happened. You know what? When you have an exposure to advanced, game-changing technology and knowledges, you have the incentive to get more done. So that's what basically happened. The positive international exposure. So that laid the foundation for China's having a bigger taste for innovation because suddenly they opened their eyes to Western technology, to how the job is done in Western country, in industrialized, more advanced economy. They learned that one. On the other hand, there's even more, even bigger motivators for demand for innovation. That comes down to more recently the export controlling, and that's one thing. Okay, that only applies to a lot of the communist countries because we all know export controlling does not apply equally to all countries in the world. It specifically applies to communist countries. They're potential enemies for the Western economy, right? So that's one thing. But there's another thing. Even before the export controlling, remember before that Tiananmen Square in 1979, um, the Western was very excited about the China's opening its door, changing the policies. So they were actually pretty much, less strict on export controlling. They are more willing to share their advanced technology. But there's another side of the story. That is monopoly prices. That one actually works more significantly for China because Chinese are very sensitive to price. So if you have a monopoly price control means that two things. Number one, you have the acquiring price will be high, meaning that when they sell something to you, the machine. Let's talk about example that the tunnel boring machine TBM, which basically means that you dig into how to dig a hole, how to dig a tunnel through underground, everything underground. Basically, the most significant application is um, the subway system, right? So everything is going underneath the surface. So you really need that TPM. But then how expensive that TPM? To buy a TPM, originally you spend almost like $100 million per machine. That's basically a monopoly controlled by German and Japanese manufacturers. Okay, so China had to spend that much money because China wants to develop the under subway system, and then in order to do that, you can't really depends on human, digging the holes and deep into ground, right? like we see in the Bay Area, the you know the bar system. You go through underneath the ocean surface to the bottom of the ocean, and you go dig a hole, dig a tunnel to uh, get into the city of San Francisco from the East Bay, and get into it and out of it. You either way you have to use the TPM to dig a hole. So this is where the acquiring, initial purchasing of the TPM costs that much. But that's not it. That's not all of it. We have another side which is we call it the total cost of ownership. Because once you have the machine is broken or need the parts, a new parts, and then every time they charge a big money, to send somebody over, and they won't allow you to look at it. They just they want to keep it secret, and so they can maintain the monopoly. So the send engineering coming over, live in the most fancy hotel, and then to charge a big amount of money. So adding these two together, the initial purchasing and the maintenance and service cost, the total cost of ownership is highly significant. It's like we talk about the um, um, ridiculously expensive. Uh, so that's why these two things significantly boost the demand for Chinese. So this is a story initially start from exogenous shock, right? But nothing's completely exogenous, right? So the same shock from the external may have a different impact, different result, different outcome. Depends on the something that can be internally controlled. So that's why we said that you have endogenous uh, um, drivers, that basically we turn the external exposure into internal motivation for doing something. So that's what happened to China because of the total cost of ownership, because of a monopoly price, because of the export control, and also don't forget the positive side because the initial exposure to advanced manufacturing technologies. This significantly boosted the Chinese demand for innovation. First, the initial exposure of the advanced technology encouraged the taste for advanced technology. And then the external export controlling and the monopoly price leads to the high uh, cost of ownership, total cost of ownership. That also boosted the demand for innovation because Chinese are thinking we have to get it done. We have to internalize. We have to learn that so we don't have to rely on this. So that's the total of the another important reason for internal demand for innovation. Let's stop here.